Ethan was a young, wealthy, and responsible billionaire. He owned large companies, drove luxury cars, and lived in a mansion that looked like a palace. But even with all his money, Ethan was humble. He didn't show off, and he always treated people with respect. One sunny afternoon, he met a girl named Vanessa. Vanessa was beautiful. She had smooth skin, long hair, and a smile that could melt any man's heart. But Vanessa was also very flashy. She loved expensive clothes, gold necklaces, and always wanted the latest phone or handbag in town. Ethan didn't care about all that. From the first day he met Vanessa at a charity event, he liked her. She was different from other girls. She laughed a lot and she spoke with sweet confidence. They started talking. Then they started dating, and soon Ethan fell deeply in love with her. He took her to fine restaurants, sent her flowers every week, and gave her expensive gifts. Vanessa enjoyed every moment. In her mind, she had finally found a rich man who would give her everything she wanted. One evening, while sitting together on a balcony overlooking the city lights, Ethan went down on one knee. "Vanessa, will you marry me?" he asked, holding out a diamond ring that sparkled like the stars. Vanessa screamed and jumped. "Yes, yes, I will marry you." She posted the video online. Her friends shouted with joy. "Vanessa, you've made it! A billionaire fiancé? You're now a queen." After the engagement, Ethan arranged a family meeting. Both parents met. Vanessa's mother, a loud woman who loved money, smiled from ear to ear. Her father nodded. "As long as my daughter loves him, we agree." Ethan's parents, though wealthy, were calm and wise. His mother held Vanessa's hands and said, "Please take care of our son. He loves you too much." Vanessa smiled sweetly. "Yes, Mommy, I will." Preparation for the wedding began. They went shopping together. Vanessa picked the biggest wedding gown she could find. "I want the world to know this is the wedding of the year," she said. Ethan didn't mind the money. He just wanted her happy. He bought her shoes, gold earrings, and even hired dancers and comedians for the wedding. They printed expensive invitation cards and sent them out. Vanessa even made a pre-wedding video where she danced and said, "I'm about to marry the man of my dreams." But what Ethan didn't know was Vanessa was hiding something. Something big, something dangerous, something painful. The night before the wedding, Ethan couldn't sleep. He was too happy. He walked around his room smiling like a child. He looked at Vanessa's picture on his table and said, "Thank you for choosing me. I'll love you forever." But just a few minutes away in a hotel room where Vanessa and her bridal train were resting, something was happening. Vanessa's phone rang. She stepped outside to answer it. "Hello, baby." "Yes, yes, I'm nervous too," she whispered. "I can't wait to see you again." "Don't worry, this wedding is just for the money. Once I settle with him, I'll come back to you. You're the one I truly love." She laughed and said again, "Yes, I'm only marrying him for what he has. After that, we'll run away with the money. You're my real man." But Vanessa didn't know someone was standing at the corner, a tall man in a black suit. It was Ethan. He had come to surprise her with flowers, but instead, he stood there, frozen, heart shattered. His ears had just heard the most painful words in his life. The flowers dropped from his hands. Ethan slowly turned away and walked into the darkness. Ethan walked out of the hotel compound with a heavy heart. He didn't speak. He didn't cry. He just kept walking like someone who had lost everything. The night was cold, but his heart was colder. He went straight to his car, sat in the front seat, and rested his head on the steering wheel. Tears rolled down his cheeks quietly. Just then, his best friend and best man, Marcus, arrived. "Ethan, I've been looking for you." "Where did you?" He stopped when he saw Ethan's face. "Ethan, what's wrong?" Ethan looked up slowly, eyes red. "Marcus, I heard Vanessa on the phone." Marcus frowned. "What do you mean?" Ethan's voice broke as he spoke. "She said she doesn't love me. She said she's marrying me for my money. She told someone else on the phone that after the wedding, she'll run away and go back to him, the man she truly loves." Marcus's face changed. His mouth opened in shock. "What?" he shouted. "Bad girl. After everything you've done for her. You treat her like a queen. You gave her love, respect, everything. And this is how she pays you back?" Ethan nodded. "She said it clearly, Marcus. I heard everything with my own ears. She said I'm just a ticket to a rich life. That I'm just a fool." Marcus clenched his fists in anger. That wicked girl. So all this was just a game to her. The shopping, the pre-wedding shoots, the family meetings, everything was fake. Ethan turned to his best friend. What did I do wrong, Marcus? I gave her my heart. I treated her with love. I wanted to build a home with her. Why would she betray me like this on our wedding day? Marcus sat beside him and sighed. Ethan, you did nothing wrong. You only loved the wrong girl, that's all. There was silence. Then Marcus held Ethan's hand and said, Bro, listen to me. I'm with you. Whatever decision you take, I'll support you. If you want to cancel the wedding, I'll stand with you. If you want to confront her, I'll back you. But please don't let this destroy you. You are bigger than this. You're a good man. You don't deserve this kind of pain. Ethan closed his eyes and took a deep breath. He wanted to scream. He wanted to cry. He wanted to disappear. But instead, he picked up his phone and dialed his mother's number. Mama, he said quietly, I need to talk to you. Please don't tell anyone, especially Vanessa. His mother's voice came through the phone, full of worry. My son, what's wrong? It's past midnight. Are you okay? Ethan wiped his tears. No, Mama, I'm not okay. Meanwhile, at the hotel, Vanessa was busy snapping pictures with her bridesmaids. She wore her silk bridal robe, showing off her glittery nails and diamond engagement ring. Tomorrow, I'll officially be Mrs. Billionaire, she said proudly. Her friend Gina laughed. Ah, Vanessa, you've won the jackpot. Ooh, you're going to enjoy life, die. Vanessa giggled and whispered, They don't know I'm not staying long in that mansion. I just need to secure my name on his account. After that, I'll disappear. They all laughed. But they didn't know the game was about to change, and the groom wasn't smiling anymore. Ethan sat quietly on the hotel room couch, his hands shaking gently as he held a cup of untouched water. Marcus paced the room angrily, biting his lips and muttering, Unbelievable wickedness in human form. A knock came at the door. Tap, tap, tap. Marcus walked to the door and opened it. It was Ethan's mother, dressed in a beautiful lace wrapper with a green head tie on her head. Her makeup was already done, her face glowing with joy. But the smile on her face faded the moment she looked into Ethan's eyes. My son, what happened? She asked, rushing in. Marcus said, It's urgent. You even told me not to tell Vanessa. Please talk to me, my child. Ethan stood up slowly. He looked his mother in the eyes and then dropped the bomb. Mama, there's no wedding again. She blinked. No wedding? What do you mean? Ethan's voice cracked. I overheard Vanessa tonight outside. She was talking on the phone to another man. She told him that she's only marrying me for my money. That once she settles into my house, she'll run away and go back to him. His mother gasped and held her chest. Jesus Christ. She staggered backward and sat on the bed, her eyes wide with disbelief. Vanessa? That sweet girl? The one we welcomed into our family? What kind of wickedness is this? Marcus added quickly. That's exactly what Ethan told me, Mama. He heard it with his own ears. That girl is a gold digger. Ethan's mother shook her head slowly. So all the smiles were fake, all the love she was showing you, all the dancing and prayers. It was all to get your money. Ethan nodded quietly. She stood up again, this time pacing the room like a worried lioness. She should have just asked for money if she loves money so much. Why didn't she say so? Ethan would have given her without blinking. My son has helped strangers with millions. Why betray his love like this? Marcus spoke bitterly. Women and money, Mama. Women and money. Some of them don't care whose heart they break as long as they are living soft. There was silence in the room. Then Mama walked over to her son and held his hand. My son, don't cry. Don't let this destroy you. I know your heart is bleeding, but please wipe your tears. If this marriage had gone on, you would have suffered. God saved you. He showed you the truth before it was too late. Ethan nodded slowly, but tears dropped again from his eyes. I just don't understand why. I truly loved her, Mama. I was ready to give her the world. I know, my son, she whispered, pulling him close. You did your best. Let her carry her shame. You will find a woman who will love you, not your money. Marcus cleared his throat. So what are we going to do now? Guests are already arriving in the city. Some people even traveled overnight just to attend the wedding. Ethan sighed. We'll cancel everything by morning. But I don't want to create a scene tonight. I want to be calm. His mother nodded. That's wise. You'll face her tomorrow, but this time with power. Meanwhile, at Vanessa's suite, Vanessa was lying on the bed with her phone, scrolling through her own pictures. She smiled. This wedding must trend tomorrow, she said. Her friend Gina brought out her makeup box. Tomorrow, we paint your face like a goddess. That Ethan guy won't know what hit him. Vanessa giggled. Him and his soft heart, it's already mine. He can't escape it now. She had no idea that Ethan already knew the truth, and tomorrow was going to be her worst nightmare. The wedding morning finally arrived. It was bright and colorful. The sun smiled in the sky, birds sang sweetly, and the city was full of excitement. Vanessa's hotel suite was busy like a movie scene. Makeup artists moved around with powder and brushes, bridesmaids danced to loud music, and cameras clicked non-stop. Vanessa stood in front of the mirror, dressed in a glowing white wedding gown that hugged her body like it was made just for her. Her hair was curled perfectly. Her necklace shone like stars, and her lips were painted red like fresh roses. "Girls, how do I look?" she asked, turning slowly. Her friend Gina clapped and screamed, "Vanessa, you look like an angel. This is the wedding of the year." Another friend shouted, "Forget it. This Ethan guy is lucky to have you. That mansion is yours now, Queen." Vanessa smiled and looked at herself in the mirror. "All my suffering is over today. After this wedding, I'm in full control." They picked up a bouquet of white roses, fluffed a long veil, and danced their way to the car. Same time, at Ethan's hotel room, Ethan stood still wearing a deep blue suit with a white shirt and a silver tie. He looked like a prince, but behind the fresh perfume and clean shave, his heart was full of pain. Marcus, now dressed in a smart gray suit, walked in and adjusted Ethan's collar. "You good?" he asked. Ethan forced a small smile. "Yes, let's do this. Are you sure about the plan?" Marcus asked again. Ethan nodded. "Yes, I want the whole world to know the truth. No more pretending. If she can lie to me, then I can surprise her." Marcus placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then I'm with you till the end." The church venue was grand and beautiful. White and gold ribbons lined the chairs. Flowers stood in vases. A red carpet rolled down the middle of the hall. Guests from all over the country had come. There were politicians, musicians, businessmen, and family friends. Everyone waited, whispering excitedly. "Ethan's wedding is finally here. Vanessa is so lucky. They are such a perfect couple." Suddenly, the church doors opened. Ethan and Marcus marched in. Ethan walked slowly but boldly toward the altar, standing tall like a king. People clapped. Phones were raised. The choir sang softly. He stood in front of the pastor, calm and ready. 10 minutes passed. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. The bride arrived. Vanessa stepped out of the white limousine, holding her bouquet tightly. Her veil covered half of her face, but her joy was clear. Cameras flashed. Children waved. People stood to catch a glimpse of the bride of the year. Behind her, her bridesmaids followed closely, dressed in shiny dark red gowns, holding flowers and smiling wide. The church rose to its feet as the music changed. "Here Comes the Bride" played from the speakers. Vanessa walked slowly down the red carpet, her heels clicking softly on the floor, her eyes locked on Ethan. In her mind, she was already counting the money in his account. She finally got to the front and stood beside Ethan. They both faced the pastor. "Dearly beloved," the pastor began, "we are gathered here today to join this man and this woman in holy matrimony. If anyone has a reason why they should not be joined together, speak now or remain silent forever." The whole church went quiet. You could hear a pin drop. No one moved, no one coughed. Just then Ethan raised his hand, slowly. "Please give me the microphone." The crowd gasped. Vanessa turned to him, confused. "What's going on?" she whispered. Marcus stepped forward and brought a megaphone from under the seat. He handed it to Ethan. Ethan looked at the sea of faces in front of him. He looked at Vanessa and then at the pastor. His voice shook slightly, but he held firm. "Ladies and gentlemen, please, before this wedding goes on, there's something I need to say." The hall went dead silent. Everyone leaned in. Vanessa's hand tightened on the bouquet. Ethan held the megaphone with both hands. His heart beat loudly in his chest, but his voice came out clear and bold. He looked around the church. People had their eyes wide open. Some had already brought out their phones to record. Then he turned and faced Vanessa, the bride, the woman who broke his heart. Ethan took a deep breath and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all for coming. I know many of you traveled far and spent money to be here. I appreciate you. But before we continue with this wedding, I need to say the truth." The hall was completely silent. Even the fans stopped humming. Even Vanessa stopped smiling. Ethan continued, "This is not a mistake. I love this woman standing beside me. I gave her everything, my time, my heart, my respect. I introduced her to my family. I gave her my full trust. I was ready to call her my wife today. Vanessa smiled nervously and held his hand, trying to act innocent. Ethan gently removed his hand from hers. He looked straight at her. But what do I get in return? He raised his voice. Last night, I came to this hotel to surprise her with flowers. I was happy. I was excited. But as I reached the gate, I heard her voice talking to another man on the phone. People in the crowd began to murmur. Vanessa's eyes grew wide. She shook her head quickly, whispering, "Ethan, please." But Ethan didn't stop. She told the man she doesn't love me. She said she's only marrying me because I'm rich, that once we're married, she'll settle in, take what she wants, and run back to him. She called me a fool. Gossips filled the air. A woman in the crowd shouted, "Blood of Jesus." Vanessa's mother stood up, confused. Ethan continued, "She planned everything. The love, the smiles, the hugs, all fake. She only wanted my name, my wealth, my status, not my heart, not my soul." Now people were recording. Phones were everywhere. Someone screamed, "Facebook Live is on!" Oh. Vanessa was shaking. Her flowers dropped from her hand. "Ethan, please, let me explain." But Ethan raised one hand. "Explain what?" he asked calmly. "You said it with your own mouth. You said I'm your ticket out of poverty and the man you truly love is waiting for you." He turned back to the pastor. "Sir, I respect you, but I can't marry a woman who used me. This wedding is canceled." "Jesus!" Someone screamed from the back. Vanessa fainted right there on the altar. She dropped like a bag of rice. Bridesmaids rushed to lift her up. Her makeup smudged, her wig shifted. Someone ran to bring water, but the cameras didn't stop. Click, click, click. Flash, flash. All eyes were on Vanessa. Within 20 minutes, the news hit social media. Groom cancels wedding at the altar after catching bride's betrayal on phone. Vanessa the gold digger trends nationwide. Wedding of shame #billionaire heartbreak. The blogs didn't sleep. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere was buzzing. Vanessa's friends who laughed with her earlier now left one by one, covering their faces. Her mother tried to beg Ethan, "Please, my son, forgive her. It's the devil." Ethan looked at her calmly. "I'm not angry. I'm just free." Marcus walked to Ethan and whispered, "You did the right thing, bro." The choir had stopped singing. The pastor looked confused. The crowd began to slowly leave. But Ethan stood tall. He looked back at the woman who was supposed to be his wife and walked away. Vanessa sat on the church floor, still wearing her heavy white wedding gown. Her face was soaked, not just with tears, but also from the cold sachet water they had poured on her when she fainted. Her makeup was ruined. Her false lashes had fallen off. Her wig was tilted, almost as if it wanted to run away too. The once beautiful bride had become the talk of the entire country. People were no longer whispering behind her back. They were now speaking openly and boldly. So she only wanted his money. God has exposed her today. There's no reward for fake love. Vanessa's mother knelt beside her, trembling. "Vanessa, what have you done? What exactly did you do to yourself?" Her father stood at a distance, unable to come closer. Too ashamed to even look at her. The bridesmaids quietly disappeared, one after the other. Even Gina, Vanessa's closest friend, switched off her phone and slipped out through the back gate. Outside the church, the press had gathered. Big cameras, long microphones, reporters yelling over one another. This is breaking news. Ethan, the billionaire groom, calls off his wedding at the altar. Vanessa accused of planning to marry him just to run off with his money. Meanwhile, at Ethan's mansion, Ethan arrived home quietly. He didn't want noise. He didn't want to answer questions. He just wanted silence and rest. But the moment the security man opened the gate, flash. Reporters rushed forward. Cameras flashed from every corner. Journalists screamed questions. "So is it true your bride betrayed you? What advice do you have for young men about love? Will you still get married this year?" Marcus stepped out of a car and raised his hand to stop them. "Please, no questions, no interviews. My friend needs time and peace." Ethan didn't say a word. He walked straight into the house. His mother was already waiting for him. She opened her arms and embraced him tightly. "My son," she whispered, "you were brave today. I'm proud of you. You uncovered the truth before it ruined your life." Ethan said nothing. He only let out a deep sigh and nodded slowly. He slumped onto the couch, loosened his tie, and stared blankly at the wall. His phone wouldn't stop ringing. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, over 4,000 new messages had come in. Celebrities were now reposting the video. Some commented, "Ethan dodged a bullet." This is what happens when you give your heart to the wrong person. But one particular post caught everyone's attention. It was from Vanessa's supposed real boyfriend, the same man she was speaking with on the phone before the wedding. He wrote, "I never asked her to betray him. I never told her to use him. She acted on her own." And to make matters worse, he added laughing emojis. When Vanessa saw the post later that night, she screamed and smashed her phone against the hotel room wall. Her entire world was crashing down. Her phone wouldn't stop ringing. Family members kept calling to ask, "Is this true? How could you embarrass the whole family like this? What were you thinking?" Vanessa couldn't eat. She couldn't sleep. She went online and saw memes of herself trending everywhere. One said, "When you think you're marrying a billionaire, but you forgot that God is still watching." Another meme showed her fainting picture with a caption, "Gold digger caught live on camera, award-winning performance." She turned off her phone and screamed at the top of her voice, "Why me?" But it was too late. Her face was now everywhere. Her name had become a punchline. Her shame had gone viral. After all the shame, noise, and gossip, Ethan couldn't take it anymore. Everywhere he turned, people whispered, phones pointed at him. Even in his mansion, peace had run away. So one cool morning, he called Marcus. They sat on the balcony, sipping hot tea. "Marcus," Ethan said slowly, "I need to leave." Marcus turned quickly. "Leave to where?" Ethan looked at the sky. "Somewhere far. Anywhere that no one knows me. I need to breathe. I need to heal. If I stay here, this pain will choke me. Every morning I wake up with my head pounding, my body weak. I haven't slept more than a few hours in weeks. Part of me keeps thinking maybe it was my fault, that I wasn't enough." Marcus's face fell. "But what about the company?" Ethan nodded gently. "That's why I'm calling you. You've been my best friend for years. Handle the company, pay the workers, keep things going." Marcus held his hand firmly. "You have my word, brother. I'll protect your company like my own." Ethan also turned to his mother. She was heartbroken to hear it, but she understood. He hugged her tight and said, "Mama, don't worry, I'll be fine. I just need time. Maybe a year." He didn't carry much. No security, no convoy, no luxury. He abandoned his cars and left in a small commercial bus. 2 days later, he arrived in a small, peaceful town, Riverline Town. It was calm. No noise, no cameras. No one knew his name. He rented a small room near the riverbank. Every morning, he took walks to the riverside and watched fishermen pull nets from the water. He helped children in the area carry firewood. He greeted elders with respect. They thought he was just a quiet, simple young man. Nobody knew this man once owned buildings in the city. Nobody knew this was Ethan, the billionaire who canceled a wedding at the altar. 1 month later, it was a cool evening. The wind was soft, the sky was golden. Ethan sat on a low wooden bench near the river, watching birds fly across the sky. Just then, he heard soft crying. He turned around and saw a young woman sitting under a mango tree, crying quietly with her head bowed. Her dress was plain. Her sandals were dusty. She hugged herself like she was freezing, even though the weather was warm. Ethan stood up and walked toward her slowly. "Hello. Excuse me, are you okay?" The girl looked up, her eyes swollen with tears. She wiped her face quickly. "I'm fine," she said in a shaking voice. "I'll be going soon." Ethan looked at her carefully. She had no makeup. Her dress was simple and worn out, but her beauty still shined through the sadness. "I'm sorry for disturbing," Ethan said gently. "I just saw you crying, and I thought maybe you needed someone to talk to." She looked at him again, then sighed deeply. "My name is Rachel. I live and work in the orphanage home near the market." Ethan nodded. "I'm Ethan. I just moved here last month." Rachel looked down, fresh tears coming to her eyes. "Today makes exactly 15 years since I lost my parents in a car accident. I was just a little girl. They were taking me to school, and that was the last time I saw them." Ethan's heart dropped. Rachel continued. "Since then, I've lived in the orphanage. I grew up there. Now I help take care of the other children. Feed them, bathe them, tell them stories. But every year on this same date," she added, "I come here to cry. I just sit here and talk to the wind. It helps me feel like my parents can still hear me." Her voice cracked. "But it's hard. I always smile around the children, but deep inside, I'm still broken." Ethan sat beside her gently. He didn't speak for a while. Then he whispered, "Pain knows pain, and only those who have truly suffered understand silence." Rachel looked at him. surprised. Then she smiled, a very small, sad smile. You speak like someone who has been through a lot. Ethan looked away. I have. They sat quietly by the riverside, watching the moon rise. Two strangers, two broken hearts, one peaceful evening. The next morning, Ethan couldn't stop thinking about Rachel, her sad eyes, the way she spoke, the quiet strength in her voice. It stayed with him. He walked to the riverside again, hoping to see her, but he couldn't find her there. Then he remembered she had told him she lived in an orphanage home near the market. So he followed the route, and there she was, sweeping the small compound in front of a faded building with a worn-out sign. Sunlight Orphanage Home. Ethan stopped at the gate, watching her from a distance. She wore a big t-shirt and had tied an old wrapper around her waist. But the way she laughed with the children running around her made his chest feel warm. One little boy ran past and hugged her waist. Auntie Rachel, Auntie Rachel, I finished my morning chore. She bent down and kissed his forehead. Good boy, Kenny. Go and help Blessing now, okay? Ethan walked in slowly. Rachel turned and smiled. Hey, Ethan, you found the orphanage. I followed through the market, Ethan replied, smiling back. I wanted to see how you do this, the way you care for them. It's special. Rachel dropped her broom. Come, let me show you around. She took him from room to room. Small bunks squeezed together, broken cupboards, old plastic buckets. Yet the whole place was full of joy. The children smiled with their teeth wide. They ran around barefoot, but they looked happy. In the backyard, a young girl was washing clothes in a big basin. Another boy was singing while spreading wet shirts on a rope. Ethan was amazed. Are these kids always this cheerful? Rachel smiled. We have nothing, but we have each other. They are my family. Then she turned to him. Ethan, would you like to help serve lunch? He laughed. I've never done it before, but show me how. Soon he wore a faded apron, held a big spoon, and joined her in the small kitchen. They dished out plates of rice and beans with tiny pieces of fish. As each child came with their plate, they shouted, Thank you, Uncle. Thank you, Auntie Rachel. Ethan knelt down and rubbed their heads. He smiled from his heart, a real smile he hadn't felt in months. One small girl, Blessing, whispered to Rachel, Auntie, is he your husband? Rachel blushed. No, Blessing, he's just a friend. But when she turned to look at Ethan, their eyes locked, and in that moment, something passed between them. Not words, not plans, just something real. Weeks passed. Ethan kept coming back. He helped paint the broken chairs. He fixed the leaking tap in the bathroom. He planted small flowers by the entrance. Rachel laughed more. The children now waited every evening by the gate. Uncle Ethan is coming, they shouted as soon as they saw him. One evening, as the sun began to set, Ethan and Rachel sat outside on an old bench. Rachel looked at him. You've changed, Ethan. When I first met you, you looked like a man hiding pain, but now you smile more. You laugh, you look lighter. Ethan looked at her gently. That's because I found peace here, and you helped me find it. Rachel turned her face away shyly. Ethan gently touched her hand. You don't have to say anything. Let's just enjoy this. She didn't pull her hand away. She smiled and leaned on his shoulder for the first time. In a long time, Ethan's heart was home again. Exactly 1 year had passed since Ethan left the city behind. In that time, he healed. He laughed again. He loved again. But now it was time to go back. Time to return to the life he left behind. Time to take the final step. That evening, Ethan sat with Rachel under the mango tree near the river, where they had their first real conversation. The sky was orange, the breeze was soft. Ethan gently held her hand. Rachel, there's something I need to tell you. Rachel turned to him quickly. What is it, Ethan? I'm going back to the city tomorrow. Rachel's smile faded. Her fingers slipped from his hand. You're leaving? She whispered, her voice low and shaky. Ethan looked at her, hiding a smile. Yes, to continue what I left behind. But I want you to do something for me. Rachel looked down, fighting tears. Anything. Tell the staff at the orphanage I want to meet all of them, the kids too. Let them all be around tomorrow. I have something to say. Rachel quickly wiped her eyes and nodded. Okay, I'll tell them. The next day, everyone was waiting. The kids were seated on low benches under the tree. The staff stood behind them, whispering and wondering what the meeting was about. Then Ethan walked in, but this time he looked different. Clean-shaven, neatly ironed shirt, a warm smile, and in his hand, a small black box. Rachel stood in front, unsure why her heart was beating so fast. Ethan smiled at the crowd. Thank you all for making me feel like family. You gave me peace when I had none. You gave me joy when I had no reason to smile. And most of all, he paused, then added, I promise to support you all, your feeding, your education, and your future. The children smiled. Some of the staff covered their mouths, others giggled softly. Then he turned to Rachel. You gave me love when I thought love was dead. Ethan got down on one knee. Rachel gasped. He opened the box. A shining silver ring lay inside. Rachel, he said slowly, you taught me that love doesn't need wealth or fame. It just needs truth. And you are my truth. Will you marry me? Rachel froze. Her mouth opened in shock. Tears fell from her eyes like rain. Yes, she whispered. Then louder, yes, yes, yes. The children jumped up and screamed. Auntie Rachel said yes. They clapped. They danced around them. Ethan stood up and slipped the ring on her finger. He whispered in her ear, You're not staying here, my love. You're coming with me to where I truly belong. Your new home. Rachel smiled. The children ran and hugged Ethan and Rachel tightly. Later that evening, Ethan and Rachel boarded a private car and drove for hours. They reached the city just after sunset. As the driver opened the mansion gate, Rachel's eyes widened. The house was massive. White walls, tall palm trees, big golden doors. She turned slowly to Ethan. Is this where you live? Ethan smiled. Yes, welcome home. Rachel placed her hand on her chest. This house is so beautiful. But you never told me. Ethan looked at her and said, I didn't want to impress you with things. I wanted to win your heart with truth. The next morning, Ethan called Marcus. As soon as Marcus entered the house and saw Rachel, he smiled wide. This must be her. The woman who gave our boss a second life. Ethan laughed and hugged Marcus. Thank you for holding things down. Marcus nodded. The company is doing great, but honestly, everyone missed you. Especially Mama. Right on cue, Ethan's mother arrived. She walked in gracefully. Her eyes filled with emotion. She saw Rachel and her face softened. You must be the one my son couldn't stop talking about, she said. Rachel bowed her head. Yes, Ma. Ethan's mother walked forward and held her hand. My daughter, you are beautiful, inside and out. Thank you for bringing my son back to life. They hugged. 2 weeks later, the mansion was decorated again. But this time, no press, no strangers, no drama. Just close friends, family, and a small bus from the orphanage carrying the staff and children. Rachel walked down the aisle in a simple white gown, her eyes locked with Ethan's. He stood in a dark blue suit, smiling with pride. This time, when the pastor asked if there's anyone who has a reason why these two should not be joined, the whole hall was silent. But the children whispered among themselves, if anybody talks now, we'll beat them. Laughter filled the air. And this time, Ethan said, I do. Rachel said, I do. And the story had only just begun. It was a quiet afternoon. The streets were almost empty. The sun was high, but the wind carried a strange sadness. Vanessa sat alone at the front of her old apartment. Her face was pale, her eyes swollen from crying. Her hair was rough. Her t-shirt was faded and loose. No makeup, no jewelry, no smile. She clutched an old photo frame in her hand. It was their pre-wedding photo, hers and Ethan's. They looked perfect in the picture, but now it only brought tears. As she stared at it, tears dropped on the glass. I messed up, she whispered. She didn't notice when her friend Gina walked in. Gina stopped and looked at her sadly. Vanessa, she called softly. What are you thinking about again? Vanessa quickly wiped her face. Nothing, she muttered. Gina sat beside her. Have you heard? She said slowly. Ethan has gotten married. Vanessa froze. Her hands shook. I heard it, she whispered. A friend sent me the pictures. Gina sighed. Vanessa, what about that guy? Philip, the one you left Ethan for? At the mention of his name, Vanessa broke down again. She covered her face and cried harder. You won't believe it, she sobbed. Philip had been cheating on me long before that wedding collapsed. Gina's eyes widened. What? Vanessa nodded slowly. I gave him everything. My heart, my body, my trust. I promised him I would leave Ethan, marry him, and take money from Ethan's wealth to support his fake dreams. Gina shook her head. I knew it from the day he made that wicked post online. When your crashed wedding was trending, I knew he was no good. He never loved you, Vanessa. Vanessa looked at her with red eyes. He said since I couldn't keep my promise to marry Ethan and bring him money, he had no reason to stay. Gina hissed. So because the plan failed, he dumped you? Vanessa cried more. Yes, just like that. And now it's been a year. My mother still hasn't forgiven me. She said I threw away a good man, that Ethan had everything, heart, money, respect, but I chose fake love and destroyed my life. Gina placed a hand on her shoulder. Vanessa, I won't lie to you. You made a big mistake, but you can't die like this. Look at yourself. You were the most beautiful girl in the city. Look at you now. Vanessa sniffed. I can't believe you left me. I can't believe I gave up everything for a man who never loved me. Gina stood up. My dear, listen. You have to pick yourself up, wash your face, look beautiful again. Maybe God will give you another man, but don't sit here and die in regret. Life is not over. Vanessa looked at her old reflection in the window. Her once glowing skin was now dry. Her voice was shaky, but deep inside she knew Gina was right. She whispered to herself, I threw away the only man that truly loved me. I betrayed gold for dust. 2 months later, back in the city, Ethan and Rachel were glowing. Their home was full of love and peace. Rachel was pregnant and her beauty was even brighter. She walked gently, holding her growing stomach, smiling at every corner. Ethan treated her like a queen. He cooked breakfast with her, rubbed her feet at night, read books to her belly. One morning, Rachel looked into his eyes and whispered, I never thought I would ever be this happy. Ethan kissed her forehead and said, I prayed for peace. I found it in you. Their home was warm. Their hearts were full. Love had found them, real, quiet, patient love. As for Vanessa, she still walked by slowly, her life now a lesson she would never forget. Because in the end, she betrayed true love and watched it become someone else's forever. So the story is over. Our wonderful friends, are you still here at this hour? If you are, it means something in this story is touching your heart in a way that words alone can't explain. Maybe you see yourself in Ethan, the man who had everything but still believed in love so much it broke him. Maybe you feel a bit of Vanessa's regret, realizing too late that chasing illusions can cost you real happiness. Or maybe you're simply reflecting on how life always seems to test us in ways we don't expect. Let's look at this with a perspective that has no right or wrong. Because truly, who among us hasn't trusted the wrong person? Or held on to something we knew deep down wasn't meant for us? Ethan's journey shows that even the strongest can fall. He said it himself. Pain knows pain, and only those who have truly suffered understand silence. Those words are a testament to how healing often starts in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when you decide to let go of bitterness and choose peace instead. This story reminds us that love doesn't need wealth or fame. It just needs truth. And sometimes the greatest strength is not in holding on, but in having the courage to walk away and start over, even when your heart feels shattered. Whether you're healing from betrayal or learning to forgive yourself for mistakes, remember, your story isn't over yet. You can rebuild, you can find peace again, and you can love again, this time with eyes wide open. If this touched you, I'd love for you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us keep sharing stories that speak to the heart. And don't forget to leave a comment. Tell us where you're watching from, or share what part of Ethan's journey felt most real to you. Let's keep reminding each other that no matter what we lose, life still holds room for redemption and love.